YouTube? This is the Velvet Locks with another video. This video is something that I've just started doing on this channel, and I've done one so far, but I'm going to start doing a series of these types of videos. So if you're interested in getting any type of relationship advice, email me at this email down below with your questions that you may want me to give my opinion on, and also to get an opinion of those in the community, you guys, my brothers, my sisters, okay? But I randomly got a subscriber who emailed me asking me some advice on a relationship that she's involved in. And basically, I'm gonna read it off. She was like, "Hey Velvet Locks, I've watched your channel for some time now, and I see that you really don't do these type of videos, but I really need an opinion." Now, she's mentioned that I've been involved with my boyfriend for about a year now, and now we're about to take it to the next level. We've recently became engaged, and we want to get married immediately. We've made several attempts to go to the Justice of the Peace to apply for our marriage license. The first time, we didn't have all the information that was needed, so we had to come back. The next time, we pretty much had everything we needed, and we was filling out our application when suddenly something happened. The clerk that was taking care of us decided to continuously go back and forth to the back office. Now, at that time, my fiance started getting a little antsy and was asking why is she going back and forth into the office. So I calmly just tried to let him know that probably procedure, maybe she's new at what she's doing, so don't worry, all is well. Till finally when she came back out and kindly asked if he can step into the office. Alright. She mentioned that after she asked him to come into the office, she had to stay outside while they spoke quietly with whomever, I guess the supervisor or whatever, inside the office. So then afterwards, he came out and then mentioned to me that we weren't able to complete the process because he had some paperwork to accumulate. Now, what he mentioned next blew my mind. He mentioned that he had to find his annulment papers from a previous relationship. That previous relationship popped up before when this woman tried to reach out to me on my Facebook. When she did that back then, I asked him about her, and he mentioned she and he had moved to Virginia. They had some sort of relationship. It wasn't too good. It wasn't healthy. They argued, they fought, and she ended up getting him locked up. All sorts of foolishness. So based on what he mentioned, she took his word for what it was worth. Come to find out that he and this woman were actually married. Ooh, okay. But during the courtship, he's never mentioned her. Now, he was married before, and I knew all about that ex-wife and his 3 children with her. This woman, when she reached out to me on my Facebook, told me that he and her were still married. At that time, I asked him about it, and he blew it off, said they were never married, the whole 9. But now with this new finding that he and her actually got married and supposedly annulled it 3 weeks later, rose a lot of concerns. Come to find out, on top of that, he has all his children's name tattooed on his arm, with a 4th child. And he mentioned, after I asked him who is that person, he mentioned that was his niece and she's deceased. Well, after visiting the courts and finding out that he actually was married to this woman, and she mentioned that they still married, I asked him who was that child. Now he's telling me that that was actually another child that he has. And when I asked him how old that child was, he told me the child was 12 years old. I am very upset and very worried because now I don't know what to believe and what to trust that comes out of his mouth. Please help me, and I really appreciate you answering my letter. Wow. Okay. Now, wow, that is definitely a major trust issue. Me, myself, I've had to deal with something similar to this in the past because I had uncles and my uncles were not faithful, and there was one particular uncle that I have that had children outside of his marriage that his wife and children didn't know about. So me, myself, and my family were the ones that knew everything. And I wasn't allowed to mention anything to my aunt or my cousins because this wasn't for me to say. So the thing is this, he had me writing letters for him to my cousin, his child, who his wife did not know about. So this kind of hit a little close to home for me when I read her letter, because I was kind of caught up in the same kind of situation, holding a secret for a man who never told his wife that he had outside children about the same time that, you know, around the same age of his children. Well, honestly, to me, it's really hard to trust somebody that can't be upfront with you. They can't tell you the truth, even though this was something prior to your relationship. Now, the child is 12 years old, and you're saying you guys were dating about a year now. Now, all this time during courtship is when all of this stuff should have came out. You mentioned in your letter that you knew about the ex-wife and his other marriage and children. But this was someone that when she tried to come at you in your Facebook to let it be known that, listen, this is who I am and we're still married, after asking this man and he told you that they were just dating and blew it off as though it was not a good, you know, not a relationship, and then come to find out they were actually married, to me, really and truly, babes, I would not trust him. I would not be able to trust the word that comes out of his mouth. And not saying you can't forgive him for something like that, because yes, you are to forgive and forget, but there's no reason to lie, and there's no reason to hold this kind of information from you if you two are planning on going to that next level of marriage. Now think about it like this. He was going to take this one to the grave. Now this was something you said happened out there in Virginia. I guess he never thought the state that you're in would pick it up. Okay, and he was about to keep his mouth closed the whole entire time until all of this came about while you are applying for your marriage license. Okay, this was going to be taken all the way straight down to the altar. So you really got a situation of mistrust here, because this is a person that took something so small and kept it from you. So you really have to think, if it's something like this that he couldn't come to you and tell you, what big stuff is he holding from you? Or can he be trusted to even tell you anything major? It's always going to be that mistrust, his words being dishonest. You're going to be looking at him, you know, with the side eye. And it's going to be really a hard thing to try and rebuild, because he damaged your trust by holding this secret from you. And it wasn't something that should have been held. It's something that should have been spoken about during courtship. So me, myself, it really would be hard for me to trust him, especially coming from a family of cheating uncles. You know, cheating uncles. I've watched my uncles cheat around and hoe around on my aunts, and I couldn't say anything. I had to mind my business. I was a little girl at that time, and even coming from a prior marriage of infidelity, it's really hard to trust somebody like that can't be honest with you, don't value you as the person, the wife, the queen that you are, to be able, or give you that chance to make a decision whether or not this is something that you want to deal with, or maybe this is something that you don't want to deal with. He didn't give you a choice. He was holding it from you. So you really going to have to look at what it is for what the face value is, and come to some sort of agreement within yourself, a decision within yourself. And you really gonna have to take it for face value, because like I said, if he held something so simple that he could have spoken about all this time, what else could he be holding from you that is really major? Okay, so you really got to think of it like that. And not saying this can't be helped, this can't be healed, this can't be repaired, but that's a decision that you would really have to sit and figure out whether or not you want to deal with this. Because if he lied once, who's to say he ain't lying now? Who's to say what other bones he got coming out of his closets or buried in his closets? So you really need to seek God's help and ask God to reveal the hidden things in his life, because that's the only way you're going to be able to see whether or not you can really sit there and live for the rest of your life with a man like this and trust his word. Because if he doesn't value you as a woman to show, to lay down on the line and be pretty much transparent in front of you, whether good, bad, or ugly, then I don't see this marriage really, you know, being a healthy one. There's going to be a dishonesty, trust. You don't know. Maybe it may not be, but he took it all the way down to the point of you guys applying for your marriage license. So that's something you really have to sit and really think hard about. If that's the case, and he was going to keep this one and take it to his grave, and not even tell you that he had a 12-year-old child. Wow. So, you know what? Me, myself, I wouldn't be bothered. Honestly, I wouldn't be bothered. He also denied a child. I wouldn't be bothered. Not even denied, but denied you from knowing about that child. Okay? So, really, you're going to have to seek God on this, pray about this, and come to some really rash decisions, because this could be a future of lies and deceit, distrust, dishonesty, or maybe this could be repaired, but that's only something that you would have to make that decision on. So that's my advice to you. You guys, if there's anything that you want to say to this young lady, please list it down below, make your comments down below, and share your experiences if you've been through something like this where your partner has been dishonest all the way up to the point of almost marrying the person, and then all of a sudden this big surprise, this big bone flew out the closet, and now it's something you have to either deal with and come to a decision on. So list that down below. Let me know what you think. Also, you guys, I thank you so much for joining me on this kind of Ask Donna segment. And if you're interested in me doing more of these, and you have questions, you have concerns or things that you really don't know which way to turn, drop me an email on your questions, your concerns, your relationship problems that you may need help or may need me to put out there for advice. I appreciate you asking me your opinion, and I wish you all the best in your decision. All right, and I thank you all for joining me on this video, and don't forget to join me in the next video.